The main sponsor of IBCC is Fishing and Hunting Channel. The prizes for the competition's biggest carp are sponsored by Beta Mix. Our strategic partners are the Hungarian National Anglers Association and Balaton Fish Management Non-Profit Limited.
Well, this is it, day 4 of the IBCC, and we come to you from the banks of the magnificent Lake Balaton at the equally magnificent Club Tehani. Well, things are slowing down a little bit, Paul. It's cold now, isn't it? Look, you've got a jacket on.
It is. I got caught out yesterday and absolutely freezing, so I'll make sure I keep a jacket on today.
It looks very nice behind us. The weather looks absolutely fantastic, but there's a very cold wind, and that's had a big effect on the fishing. It's changeable, but no big storms today. But there has been a bit of a storm in the results. So let's get straight into it. What is happening? There's been movements both into the podium and off the podium. This is what the scores are literally right now. So let's take a look at that. At the top of the tree, we have Tropic Ridge Monkey from the Czech Republic, 292 kilos. In the Carpera section, we've seen them before. They're catching consistently. Down from top slot, though, the guys you saw yesterday, Carps and Baits.
Yes, 227 kilos. They're still up there, but Tropical Ridge Monkey are sneaking ahead a little bit.
They're starting to accelerate now, and these middle stages, this is just like a marathon. If you sprint off quickly at the beginning, there's no guarantee that you will finish as fast at the end. Equally, a late finish is really good if you can accelerate and catch more fish towards the back end. Third place, of course, is Cranty. They were up in second, so there's been a little bit of chopping and changing between those top three. Slowing down, though, for second and third, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting so many fish as they were, but you never know. They've still got a chance to sneak a few out.
Well, the one team that we did see that were catching fish was Tropic Ridge Monkey. And first thing this morning, I nipped up to see them, to see how they were getting on. They'd had 5 fish through the course of the evening. It was looking pretty good. When I got there, they'd caught another 2.
This sector is sponsored by Carperus, the rig specialist.
So it's the morning of day 4, and I'm out on the bank in a place we've been to before. This is the current race leaders. It's the Carpera section, peg 49, and they've had a fantastic night of action. 5 fish through the course of the night. We've turned up morning time, and look, 2 more fish as well. Brilliant start for these guys. Straight up into the top 3 positions. They've been there or thereabouts overnight. They've gone into first place. So an absolutely fantastic start for you so far. Not just in the lead, but you were accelerating away at the front, catching more than the teams chasing you. A good night last night, 5 fish, 2 again now. It's a great start.
Yeah, thank you. We know the situation. It's 4th time when we are leading the competition, this competition. And it's hard in your head. It's a pressure, but we know the situation. We are lucky. Carps are still there, and we must working. No sleeping, hard working, and hopefully, once it will come, and we will win it.
Other teams, they seem to be slowing down. Why?
So I don't know why. I think the first or second night was better than this night. So we know that we have a little bit less of runs of carps, but also a little bit of small carps, which are less than 10 kilos.
Yes.
So we are happy for that because we are not so tired like the last night, and the weather is good. There will be that 2 and 3 degrees high each day, and it's good. It looks good.
It's looking good. It is looking good indeed. Let's talk about 4 rods as well. You're fishing 4, but most of the bites are coming to 1 rod. Do you know why?
I think it's about position. It's only about position. Your rods. It's part of our tactic, and when you have some skills, you know this lake and you know the spots, you must place your rods optimally, not like idiot, but you must thinking about it. And I hope we make it well. And this is the reason why we are constantly fishing. And this is our tactic.
Well, look, it's definitely working at the moment. Whatever the tactics are, they are absolutely brilliant. The fish are here, the guys are here, they're working hard and they're winning. Well, comfortable first place. And one of the things I've got to say is the guy with the cap that I was talking to there, he is an incredibly good angler. Comfortable in first place. You heard him say there that he's led this competition before now in the past. They haven't quite done enough towards the end to get over the line, but they've been in the lead in this competition before. But I'll go one step further. He is a two-time world champion predator angler as well. So he fishes for perch, pike and zander. He's won the World Championships gold medal twice, fishes internationally there. So one of those incredible anglers that it doesn't matter whether he's fishing for carp or predators or roach, he can just turn his hand to it, and he's got the magic effect.
I think those are golden hands. Like you said, I was up there a couple of days ago. Lovely, lovely guys. Really know how to work a swim, and it's interesting. Only one rod though. They're just getting all the fish on one rod.
Yeah, I was chatting to them to that, and you know we've seen an awful lot of that in our own fishing anyway. How often is it that you put 4 rods out, but you get the majority of your bites in the one area, and particularly if you're fishing in a diagonal line, you know Here, what happens a lot of the time is people fish a similar sort of distance. But if you put all of your rods at the one distance, if they're not passing on exactly that line, you're going to miss them. So as a result, it's good to fish in a diagonal line. So it might be 300, 350, 400, 450.
Intercepts and whatever distance they want to come through, you've got a bait in every area.
And the other thing that's interesting is their neighbours to the left-hand side are very close to them.
Right.
So if they go long, then a line going across the swim could well stop fish coming over into their swing.
Over from the left-hand side.
Absolutely.
But he did say while I was down there that he's got a massive reed bed to his right.
Yes.
And he's pretty sure that all the fish are coming out of there.
Yes.
So his longest rod would be his left-hand rod.
Yep.
And the closest in rod will be his right-hand rod.
And there's tactics in that as well, because, as we said, it might stop fish coming into the swim, but equally that might stop fish going out of the swim as well. And the one rod is positioned at exactly the right distance from the bank. You know, there's a temptation when you've caught lots of fish in one area to overcrowd it, to put 2 or even 3 in there. Now, it may come that he will have to do that if he starts getting caught, but when they're in the lead and they have a steady edge on everyone else's, they don't need to push it, they just need to carry on doing what they're doing.
Yeah, don't block the swim out, just keep them all spread out as they are. Like you said, if they need to in the future, they can pull one back a little bit or push one a little bit further out.
Absolutely, keep on keeping on. Well, look, let's have a look at what's happening in the second place team. That is Carps and Baits. So we'll pull their graphic up now and we'll just have a little look at Peg 49. We haven't had the opportunity to get up and see them. They're a long, long way away from us. So this is Tropic Ridge Monkey. So this is what they've caught. They're 292.10. If we now have a look at Peg 86, this is the second place team. They've actually caught more fish, but not quite as big. You can see their average there is, well, here, these guys are catching slightly bigger fish. So not as many, but bigger.
Not as many, only 3 today.
Yes, and you know, 3 against 7, that's 40 to 50 kilos difference. Yeah. If that happens again, you've only got to have a day period and a night period, and suddenly you're 100 kilos adrift. Yeah. It's easy to say, well, we can catch 100 kilos if 6 15-kilo fish come in, but if your bites are on the way down, not on the way up, it's a big ask. It really is a big ask. So it's quite interesting watching how this competition is developing. You know, last year we saw 3 teams that were neck and neck. Here, this year, we're seeing one team just start to stretch a little bit away from the others.
Yeah, just getting some legs, just running their way out there a little bit. Yeah. Or not running, but a brisk walk.
A brisk walk, consistent. Let's now have a look at the team that is third at the moment. This is the Cranty team. And again, I went out to have a chat with them earlier because I wanted to know exactly what was happening. They hadn't caught any fish overnight, or certainly nothing was recorded. So what was going wrong with Cranty? So back where we were a moment ago, tell me what happened.
have a bite. Fortunately, the fish was under 10 kilos, so we released it from the boat.
So, are you catching a lot of small fish now then?
Actually, 50-50. From we have now counted about, I don't know, 14 fishes. So about 15 fishes under 10 kilos.
Okay. Your catch rate has dropped a little bit for 10 kilo plus fish. You were up into second place. This morning you've now dropped into third place, been overtaken by carps and baits. Last night was very quiet for you. Do you think that was temperature, or do you think the fish have just moved?
Yes, we are sure that it's about it's the reason of drop of temperature, because we just measured the water temperature, decreased by 3 or 4 degrees from Sunday. So it's very, very big drop.
A cooling temperature is always going to be bad for fishing. What do you think you can do now? Will you change your plans? We are just over halfway. You are still third place, not so far away. So there is still a lot to play for. What will you do? What will you change, or will you carry on doing the same thing?
I think that we will not stress too much because, as you see, the sun rises up and we have had just a bite. So we're hopefully looking for warm weather, for sun, and we will actually
a big push today. That's the plan.
Yes, big push.
Good luck. Good luck. There we go. Currently in third. Let's find out where they're going to be by the end of the day. Oh, there we go. There's a bite. Can you believe that? I was about to say that it's been a bit tough, but this is exactly. Go on, hit it. Go for it. Go for it. Yeah, just go for it. Just do what you need to do. That is incredible. I was about to say to them that it's been quite tough. They didn't have a bite last night. Well, they had one 7-kilo fish. And I asked them, did they think they were going to catch anything today? And they said, yes, morning is normally a good time. And around about 11 o'clock yesterday, it started. And look at that. In the middle of an interview, we have a bite. That was perfect timing, wasn't it?
Yes, it is. It's perfect time. Amazing feeling.
Yeah.
We were waiting, and now.
Well, having a bite live on camera was absolutely fantastic. Literally, we just started interviewing them, and one of their rods goes off. But unfortunately, as you saw, it wasn't quite big enough. 7-kilo fish again.
Yeah, I think they'll be paying you to go back and see them a bit later on.
That's a great idea.
Come and pop in every time.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic idea. Yeah, I like that. So this is one of the things, trying to avoid these smaller fish. You know, they were very clear there that the weather temperature, or the water temperature, is dropping now. It went down 3 degrees overnight, so that's going to have a huge marked effect on how many fish feed. And, you know, it certainly seems to have put the bigger fish off the feed up in that area.
Yep.
Also, it's quite shallow up that end as well. So although we're on the north bank, there's a fairly shallow bay there, and I think that might be why the fish were in the area first. Now it's dropped down a little bit cooler. They've probably pushed out a little bit further. You know, the big numbers of fish are just that little bit further out now.
I did notice they're more in, or from the video, they look like they're more in open water.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's definitely going to cool down quicker, whereas the tropical ridge monkey, they've got the reeds.
Yes.
But obviously the water in there is not going to.
It's going to hold it a little bit better. Yeah, maybe so, maybe so. Who knows? Carp do the strangest of things whenever they want to. So we see that first are stretching their lead at the front. Second, they're steady. They've dropped down from first place. They're still catching, but they're not catching as much. Third, they've dropped down from second to third now. They're not catching really anything at all. They'd hoped to catch something through the course of the day, but we've checked the scores and nothing has happened. What about fourth? Who's chasing them? Well, it's the guys from Balaton Carp that are chasing them. So let's have a look how Balaton Carp are getting on. Their statistics for peg 38. And, you know, they are not too far behind now, 190 kilos, another couple of 3 fish there, and they're going to be up onto the podium. Remember, these guys, they've been up there for the Big Fish Trophy before. They came second overall a few years ago, and they're doing incredibly well, Big Fish. We'll talk about that later on. But interestingly,
no fish today.
No fish at all today. Absolutely. Similar sort of thing as well. They're not too far away, are they? Their peg is, 6 pegs away from the other one. So it's not a massive difference, maybe a kilometre on bank space. Same sort of area, carp rust section again. But bites have dried up. However, they've had some really big fish, which has been very interesting because they've had some standout fish. The Cranty guys, actually, they had a 23 kilo fish, which was their last fish. That was first thing in the morning before, that was yesterday, before everything sort of died. So, you know, there are a few big fish around, but at the moment they seem to have pushed out and they're not feeding as much.
In the area, they are, the smaller ones seem to have dried up a little bit, but there's, like you said, there's the odd big one floating around, and hopefully they can get into one of them.
Absolutely. Well, fishing a lake like Balaton, you need specific equipment. You can't just come here and cast out and hope for the best. And Paul and I were chatting about how different this sort of fishing is to the majority of fishing that certainly we do in England, and also he does with his guys over in Spain. Big water fishing requires a certain type of equipment. So I took a look at the rods and the setup on the bank and see how that differs from normal carp fishing setups. When you fish a lake like Balaton, you need specialist equipment for it. And I'm going to look through the setup now because this is a very specialist type of fishing. So the first thing I'll look at is the rods. And the majority of the teams on here are using 10-foot rods. A lot of them are 3 to 3.5 test curve, but they're 10-foot rather than 12-foot. The reason behind that is that hardly anybody casts here. A lot of the fish are caught between 400 and 500 meters, so all the work is done out of the boat. And when you're in the boat, you need a smaller rod. What you do need that's big is the big reels. So the reels have got to have a really big line capacity because you need to be able to get out that 400 and 500 meters. Some people use braid, some people use nylon. If you want really good indication, braid works well because obviously there's no stretch. But the problem is when you get big winds and big waves coming through, it can pull your presentation out. So nylon is a lot more forgiving. So the choice depends on the weather and also personal preference. Some guys use braid, others use nylon. But when we look at the setup itself, this is something else that's quite interesting. A lot of people are using swingers, but they're adding extra weight to it. So if they do get a bite, the drop back registers here. You can imagine if you're 500 meters out fishing on nylon, you need a lot of weight on this end to get that drop back indicator. And then following the rod up, it's bent over. Rather than fishing tips up and a long way out, they're fishing back leads on captive strings very close into the edge, maybe 4 or 5 meters out, and they're getting that nylon line right down onto the bottom as quickly as they can. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. The primary one being wind and wave action, because there's so much pull in this water that if they're up in the water or even in the air, the wind will blow the rigs out the way. Back leads also help when you're playing fish, coming in and out with the boats, and also get it out of the way, down on the bottom of the lake, all the way out there to allow the fish to move through and not be fenced in by lines. So you'll see this setup an awful lot of the time all around the lake. 10-foot rods, big reels, bent in, back leads right down underneath. It's a crazy way of fishing, but it works out here. So if you're thinking about coming out and fishing at Balaton, either in pleasure or alternatively in an event like this, that gives you a bit of an idea about the sort of equipment that you've got to bring. And it's so important having the right kit. You could be undergunned and literally have no chance, can't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I looked at all the gear that these people bring. I have had invitations to come and fish this, and I think if I'd have turned up, I would have been laughed off the place because the amount of gear, specialist gear that you actually need for this is unbelievable.
It's almost like a different sport to normal carp fishing, isn't it? It's the boats, the equipment that you've got to have in the boats, the safety equipment that you have to have, the personal equipment that you have to have, the fact that you're here for such a long period of time. Yeah. Before you even think about the bait and the fishing tackle, it's a big operation.
Two big motors for a start. The batteries to run those motors, you know, they're just the minimum things. 2 echo sounders if you're using 2 boats, because you need the GPS on them. And, yeah, it's phenomenal.
A lot of stuff.
I think, well, if you did the same thing, would you have brought the right gear?
Well, I've been here before, so I think I probably would.
Yeah.
Not all of it. There's bound to be things that you think, I wish I bought one of these. And what I actually do is when I'm going around and I see something that I think's useful for the future, I take a photograph of it and stick it on my list. Yeah. And then when I get home, I'll pack that into my big water kit. Right. So next time I come, I'll have it with me. I think one of the things that we have as English anglers, and I don't know if it's the same for any of you that are watching this, but I don't necessarily fish the same type of venue all the time. One day I could be fishing a 1 hectare small pond with a small rod, and the next day we could, or in the next month, we could be fishing somewhere like this. And then I could be coming over to see you and fish on the river. And then it could be a normal size lake where we're casting in a competition.
I mean, certainly British anglers have never seen anything like this.
No.
The Eastern European anglers have this type of fishing down to a T.
Which is why you see the Czechs and the Hungarians doing so well.
Always near the top.
On this event, So, I think anybody watching, we have got an awful lot to learn from Czech and Hungarian anglers in particular that do incredibly well here. Let's talk big fish now. It's been a fairly quiet day for big fish. We saw a start where there were quite a few big ones caught. We've seen a 32-kilo fish as well.
Yes.
Absolutely magnificent, but it's slowed down a little bit. I think news came in earlier that there was a 23-kilo fish caught, and Mickey went out to have a look at that. So, Mickey, tell us what you found.
This sector is sponsored by Carperus, the rig specialist.
Every team has its lucky charm, and for Ecobait's Team 2, that role is personally played by Papa Smurf. And it seems to be working here in the Balaton St Georgi Forest sector, because the boys are doing really well in their zone. They've already won the IBCC from this swim before, with a record-breaking catch. And now, if they can add 2 more fish, they could move up into 3rd place in the sector. Their comeback has already started with a 20-plus common carp. You've already won the IBCC from this swim before, with a record catch. Were you happy to draw this spot?
Tak, po losowaniu byliśmy zadowoleni ze stanowiska.
Yes, after the draw, we were pleased with the swim. We'd already had some information from Polish teams who had fished here before, and we also looked back at the results from previous years. We know that 5 years ago the Starbaits team won from this peg, so of course we were happy to get it. But as always, we still mapped the area thoroughly. We found a zone where we believed the fish would be holding, and that turned out to be the right decision, because we've caught scoring fish from all 4 of our spots. So yes, we're very satisfied. The weather is giving us reason to be optimistic as well, and we believe we can still add a few more good fish.
Pogoda też napawa nas optymizmem i wierzymy, że jeszcze coś dołowimy.
How are you approaching it at the moment? You're in a strong position in the sector, the fish are coming consistently, and you've already landed a 20-plus carp as well.
Yes, at this stage we're happy with where we stand in the sector. We think the result so far is very good, and we're working hard to keep building on it. We're catching a lot of fish, but unfortunately around 90% of them are below the scoring limit, even though most of them are very close. So we've still had plenty of fish under 10 kilos. Yesterday we made a few small changes to the rigs and the bait, and that seems to have paid off, because we landed a fish over 20 kilos. Alongside that, we've also had a few more scoring carp between 13 and 17 kilos, so we've got every reason to stay confident. There's still a lot to play for, and for us, this competition could still go in a very good direction.
Well, that's another big fish from the big fish area in the section on the opposite side of the lake. Consistency once again. Interesting though there, Paul, he said that they caught a lot of fish under 10 kilos as well. So although the really big ones are there, this sounds like there's quite a few small ones as well. So they haven't got those in-between fish that you need to win this tournament.
I mean, are they? What would be the difference down there? Are they on the end of a section, or they need some reeds or something like that?
I'm not sure. I've not seen the swim, but
got some rods closer out and some longer.
Yeah, could be anything, but there sounds like there's quite a few small fish there as well. Let's have a look at the big fish scores now. So I've got some statistics in front of me. We've actually had news that another huge fish has been caught down there from Peg 251. This came out to the Starbait team. May well be the team that they were talking about, and that is 28.9 kilos. So look at that. They've only caught 6 fish. Interestingly, they've had 3 of those today. So whatever they've started doing, they're doing well. But they've had a 22-kilo fish and now a 29.8-kilo fish. So as far as the section is concerned down there, that is pretty good. But once again, it's Siofog, or Siofog, that is that's producing those big fish. But fantastic fish, 29.8 kilos. Let's have a look at the Big 5 team overall as well. So if we now look at the top 5 there. Balaton Carp, they are currently in the lead. Incredible, 115.30. That is already higher than the weight that won it last year. It was 114 kilos. Combined weight of 5 fish that won last year. This year they've got 115. Carps and baits, they're on 100 kilos and 71. Now, anything over 100 kilos is very good. That's an average of 5 over 20. We see star baits there on 96. They're knocking on the door. Cranty 95. So there's podium places to be had. But to be honest, I think that Balaton Carp are going to be very hard to knock off that top slot.
Yeah, I mean, it would, like you said, with the figures, the size of fish head, it doesn't look a lot between them, but when you think you've got to get add that bit on to what the size of the fish that's already there,
absolutely,
it means a massive fish has to come out.
They're on for upgrades now. If they caught nothing, it wouldn't be difficult to achieve that, but they're on for upgrades. Let's have a look at the team that's in second place. This is Peg 86. We'll have a quick look at their statistics and find out what they've caught. So, lot of fish in this one. So average is 14.23, biggest is 21. But as we scroll down on this, they've got 2 sheets. So we've got 21.88 on there, 21.20. So there's 3 fish over 20 kilos. The next ones that they need to be upgrading are 17 and 15. So another 2 20-kilo fish would add another 7 kilos to them, but it's not enough to get... That would take them to 107, which is, again, a fantastic result, but it's not enough. Let's have a look at third place. So third place, this is... that was the ones we've just seen, actually. Let's have a look at the leaders. Let's have a look at Peg 38 and see exactly what they've caught. This is the one to be watching. This is Balaton Carp. So a 22.75 fish, a 25, a 23, a 25. That's magnificent fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's like they've not, well, one at 13 is, or 2 at 13 is what they can build on, but...
Yes. They've got, interestingly, they haven't caught anything since the 21st. So their swim's died now.
Yes.
They've not caught a fish for 48 hours.
Yeah.
So, or coming up to 48 hours. So they'll be hoping that no one else is going to catch fish.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to win overall from there, but at the moment they're sitting incredibly pretty for that top slot in the Big Five, aren't they?
For sure.
So brilliant stuff. Well, let's have a comparison of those top 3 big fish. Balaton Carp are on the North Bank and they're winning overall, but let's have a look at the 3 individual biggest fish. They're all common carp at the moment, and there is something very, very noticeable about that. We've got a 29.08, that's from Peg 248. We've got a 28.9 from 251, and then the big one, the 32.47, that is from 241. They're all from Sjoffog in the same area.
Oh, within 10 pegs?
Within 10 pegs of each other. Again, so...
It's definitely... There's something in that area. I think you bring your diving gear next time and have a little shifty look, see what's down there.
I think that's a great idea. I think we should see what we can do about finding out why there are so many of the ultra-big fish in Balaton down there. So for those 3 biggest fish in the whole tournament to come from an area within 10 pegs of each other is absolutely incredible. Well, that's it at the moment. Let's get back to the overall scores. Has there been any changes? Let's have a look at the total weight and see if the top 3 have changed over the last hour. The answer is, at the look of it, no. Tropic Ridge Monkey still in the lead, 292.10, nothing caught. Carps and baits dropped down from first into second this morning. They're on 227, and third, Cranty on 203. Again, Cranty very, very quiet. Balaton Carp, 4th place. They need 1 more fish to get up into 3rd place on that place. But the problem they have there is they're not catching anything.
No.
One of the big deciders is the weather. You know, when the weather changes, one, it puts the fish off, but also when there's a storm, they can't get their rods back out again, and we're coming to the back half of the competition. When the storm warning comes in, it just stops fishing, doesn't it?
Yes. I mean, obviously with the 2 levels, if you're on a level 1, you can go out, But if those level 2s come in, then that's it completely.
That's it. It's game over.
Shut it down.
Paul went out to have a look just to show you guys exactly what happens when these storm warnings come out. You hear us talking about them and what they mean. There's a flashing light system around it, and Paul will explain everything to you.
Okay, I've just popped out to the lake. It's now coming on to evening time, but it helps us explain the weather system a little bit better because you can actually see the lights themselves. If you look over my shoulder over there, you can see the lights flashing. So this is a level 1 warning, and it's 45 flashes per minute. Up at the west end, there's a storm coming in, and those will be flashing at 90, which means nobody can go on the lake in that end. The lake's actually split in 3 parts, so not everybody has to finish all at the same time. Up at that end, they'll have to finish. Down here in the middle sector, it's on the first level, but actually down at the other end, the east end, there's no warning whatsoever. So that gives you a little bit of description and helps you understand what's going on with the weather.
It's almost the reverse of what we saw yesterday, that actually when the storm warnings came in yesterday, it was the east end that weren't allowed to go out and do anything, and the west end, it was like being on the beach.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, just before we close off, I just want to take a look at some comparisons. What we can tell you is that this year, significantly more fish have been caught. We have surpassed already the 10,000 kilo mark. So look at this. At this stage, last year, 570 carp over 10 kilos have been caught. This year, it is 841. Now, weight-wise, look at that. This is going to be a record year if it carries on as it is. It's interesting that although a lot more fish have been caught, the leaders have actually slowed down a bit. So this is what happens with the leaders this year. Grunty last year were at 260. This year it's 292. But below that, we've got a 229 second and a 227 this year. And third was 210 against 203. So big influx of fish, but the top weights, with the exception of what the tropical ridge monkey team are doing, they're very, very similar. There's a lot to play for. There's a lot of money up for grabs. There's a lot of kudos up for grabs. Tonight will no doubt change things, won't it, Paul?
I'm sure.
So from me and Paul now, we're going to bid you farewell. We will be back again tomorrow. If you want to find out what's going on, do keep in touch with us here and, of course, across all of our social media channels.
IBCC is sponsored by Energofish.